starts a Wild West showdown between the Padres and Dodgers. We chat with one former All-Star who played for both teams. You're up with News 8.
Today's the big day. Padres game 1 against the Dodgers. We're hoping to see more bat flips from Tatis Jr.
The big question is, will you stay up to watch it? Because it's at, what, 6:38?
Boy, add 4 hours onto that, and a couple hours later, we're supposed to be at work.
Well, I know, I know who will be watching. That is for sure. Netta said you must. This doesn't always happen.
Yes.
And I agree with you, but I'm
with you.
more with Eric, though, because I think I'll be.
Maybe half of it. Seventh inning stretch will turn into seventh inning yawn.
Yeah, hopefully they're just going to do really well early on. We can go to bed and,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but it'll be a late night as long as you're not late to work the next morning. That's all we ask. Here's a look at the patchy fog out there this morning. Wow, this is pretty thick right there along downtown San Diego. So here's the view from the airport where it's down to a 1/3 mile visibility. So noticing just some areas with that patchy fog right along the coast, downtown La Jolla, and it's a sign that we're starting to see our weather pattern changing. Hey, that's good news. We are noticing temperatures will start to cool down. In fact, today you'll notice it not as much inland, but along the coastline. Yes, we will notice that cooling morning marine layer. We'll continue to see that the next few days. Jenny, what's happening out there?
So traffic-wise, not too much. You know, any little incident that I mentioned in my last report actually has been cleared away. Even the Coronado Bridge looks a little bit better. You'll notice some volume starting at about mid-span, so you're moving at about 25 miles an hour.
This morning, the president is back in the White House recovering. We're taking a live look at the White House right now. He says he will be back on the campaign trail very soon. So this as other members of his administration are now testing positive this morning. News 8's Evan Narani has been tracking the latest developments here. And Evan, the president's already busy on social media this morning.
Oh, yeah, wasting no time getting back to social media to voice his opinion. He's tweeted about late-term abortion this morning. He tweeted about Joe Biden. And the newest tweet that he's made is related to coronavirus. So I want to read this one because of its relation to Trump just being released from the hospital. He said, flu season is coming up. Many people every year, sometimes over 100,000. And despite the vaccine, die of the flu. Are we going to close down our country? No, we have learned to live with it, just like we are learning to live with COVID in most populations. Far less lethal. So already active on social media once again. He left Walter Reed yesterday and made it back to the White House safely. Here is what he said as he was getting off that plane.
We're going back to work. We're going to be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it.
Summer also pointed out on social media that he appeared to have some difficulty breathing while standing on the White House balcony, one of the most common symptoms, of course, of COVID-19. And when leaving Walter Reed, Trump tweeted, quote, "Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life." Many people are calling this irresponsible for the president to suggest that the American public should not be afraid of the virus. That includes Democratic Representative Scott Peters of San Diego. He released a statement yesterday. We want to read a portion of that. He said, quote, "The president received the highest quality care in the world and is feeling better. That does not mean we can disregard the gravity of this disease. I encourage San Diegans to trust the science that tells us to continue to be vigilant." Trump's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, she is the latest to test positive for coronavirus. She tested positive yesterday. Now, she was seen giving a press briefing on Sunday without a mask on. That was the day before her positive test. And McEnany now joins a growing list of members of the Trump team that have also tested positive. So that includes Ronna McDaniel, it includes Kellyanne Conway, as well as many members of the White House press corps. So the number of cases within the Trump administration continuing to grow. It's unclear whether or not that's putting a damper on the plan to campaign again and get back on the campaign trail. But of course, we still expect Trump to be quarantined for at least another about 10 days or so if he's to complete a 14-day quarantine, and have not heard whether or not that is going to mean that the debate that's planned for next week is still going to go on as planned, or whether or not he's only going to take a 10-day quarantine and then debate with Joe Biden once again. So still many questions regarding Trump's positive case and what that means for the future of his campaign. Of course, the election is less than a month away, so it's understandable that things are kind of coming down to the wire now. I'll send things back to you for now.
All right, Evan, thanks. Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris will face off in their only debate tomorrow, but due to the recent coronavirus outbreak at the White House, there will be some changes. Plexiglass will divide the two candidates. The Biden-Harris campaign first requested the plexiglass shield, and the Commission of Presidential Debates agreed to it. The debate is in Salt Lake City, Utah. It will be the first and only meeting of the two candidates.
Well, we are waiting an update from the state to see if our latest numbers will adjust to our tier level at all. Numbers will be updated by the state at noon. And as for cases in the county, health officials reported 224 new COVID cases. That's about 3% of more than 6,500 tests. None of those new cases are tied to San Diego State University. However, 7 previously reported confirmed cases are now associated with SDSU. No new deaths were reported. That total remains at 803. Our adjusted case rate is 6.7 and the positivity rate is 3.5%. Scientists at UC San Diego are joining other experts calling for clear public health guidance on how the coronavirus spreads through the air. In a letter published in the Journal of Science, researchers push for a distinction to be made in the terminology used in explaining the droplets produced by coughing, sneezing, and by aerosols. They're calling for more clarification about each of their distinct sizes, how it affects transmission of COVID-19, and reacts in the air. Those mail-in ballots should be arriving in the mail anytime soon, and if you're ready to drop them off, the drop-off locations are opening up all over the county. There are many of them. News 8's Chris Groh joining us live at one of those locations in Chula Vista. Good morning, Chris. So lots of
Good morning, Stella. And look, this is meant to be easy for everyone that does decide to go ahead and choose the mail-in ballot method of voting. That's why there's 126 locations, including just as easy as dropping it off in the mailbox, so to speak. So let's go ahead and break down what's true and what's untrue about mail-in voting. We know that California is making this available for all registered voters here in the state, so that extends here to San Diego. So about roughly 1.9 million mail-in ballots are going out to all registered voters in the county. Many of you, in fact, should have received yours already. Now, as for the benefits of mailing in your ballot, that includes safety, privacy, and the elimination of standing in long lines. In fact, you can mail it back through the post office or bring it, again, to one of these 126 locations. Now, a lot of these are going to be libraries, YMCAs, and other types of businesses in location, so they're going to have their own hours of operation. So it's going to be important for you to check to make sure that that office, that building is open, that business is open when you do decide, if you do decide to go ahead and drop it off. So there's obviously been a lot of criticism about mail-in ballots nationally. We've heard basically that there's been a large amount of criticism also thrown onto the post office and if they can handle mail-in ballots. Well, we recently heard from California Secretary of State Alex Padilla, who shot back at that criticism and had this to say. Take a listen.
And these attacks on the integrity of election serve nothing other than to undermine confidence in the election, which voters deserve to have.
Yeah, and we also heard from the registrar of voters here in San Diego County saying, look, this is probably going to be the safest way to vote during this pandemic. It eliminates those long lines. You don't have to worry about going to either the early voting location in Kearny Mesa at the registrar of voters or to any of those other separate polling locations either before or on election day. So it can be a very convenient and safe way for you to vote. And of course, we'll be breaking it all down, including where you can go or how you can send back that mail-in ballot. Just go to CBS8.com and click on that help button. Eric and Stella.
All right, Chris, thanks. 6:09, time for your morning rush. Sentencing is scheduled today for a man who pled guilty to beating his roommate to death in Oceanside. 67-year-old Michael Newton admitted to hitting 41-year-old Joshua Sager with a metal broom during an argument and pouring boiling water on him when he was down. He was initially charged with murder, but took a plea deal, which included a 15-year prison sentence for voluntary manslaughter. His sentencing is set for 9 o'clock this morning. A San Diego sheriff's deputy is accused of pulling a woman by her hair during a traffic stop. Shanita Phillips-Abu says the deputy became aggressive during what should have been a routine traffic stop last week. She claims things became heated after she started recording their interaction on her cell phone. The department says they are investigating. District Attorney Summer Stephan's office will begin its month-long Community Health and Wellness virtual fair today. The goal is to bring mental health and domestic violence resources together for people in need. Today's event is Domestic Violence 101, and it's designed to explain what these crimes look like and what to do if someone is experiencing it.
that get you pumped?
That did. Yeah, you can either say "Let's go Pods" or "Beat the Dodgers." Yeah, exactly.
BLA, right? That's what I would say. BLA. Okay, today marks a rivalry renewed. Padres face the Dodgers. This time, this is big in the playoffs.
Yeah, SoCal battle here, right? It's game 1 of the National League Divisional Series, and yes, despite it being the SoCal battle, it's all happening in Arlington, Texas. Well, the big question is who will start for the Padres? Right now, the answer is still a little bit of a mystery. By the way, the Padres have until 8 a.m. to submit their roster for this game here, so just about an hour and 45 minutes or so. They intend to keep that a secret until the very last minute. But we do know the Dodgers will send Walker Buehler to the mound. First pitch, by the way, tonight at 6:38. Yes, 6:38 for you early risers. Does that mean you're going to watch maybe half? The 7th inning stretch turns into a 7th inning nap. That might be the case for me.
Yeah, well, I think most people are going to stay up. If you're a Padres fan or Dodgers fan, you're going to stay up. The good news is, though, the temperatures that they're going to be playing in are much cooler than last game, right, Netta? Last time we checked in Texas, it was going to be like in the 80s, so not so bad.
They started, this whole playoff series in the 90s, so, the temperatures will be just right for baseball. In the upper 70s for that first pitch. A lot of people may just, tomorrow we'll rally through, drink a lot of coffee. You can make it. They haven't done this second round of playoffs since 1998, so pretty impressive. Again, it'll be warm and clear in Arlington, but if you are planning to perhaps join Padre fans near Petco at all tonight, 77 degrees here at home. We may get some clouds rolling in right around downtown for tonight. Here's a look at our skies right now. This is really cool. There's Mars. Yes, very, very close to us. So we'll talk more about Mars, but about 40 million miles away, and you can actually see the red planet this morning. Doesn't look as red. It's that white dot right there in the middle of your screen. Our sunrise will be at 6:47, and then you won't get to see that. But Otay Mountain's camera also giving you that glimpse. There's the dot right there. A look at your weather headlines this morning. We are waking up to some patchy fog right along the water. Also hazy skies possible for the day, and then high clouds are coming in from Marie. That was the once hurricane. Afternoon temperatures above average today. It will still be warm, but it's cooler. Instead of upper 90s, we're looking at low 90s, and then we're tracking some rain headed to California. For now, here's a look at those high clouds coming in from the remnants of Marie. Marie's still way offshore out there, falling apart, but pushing in a little of that moisture. And then a quick check of your air quality. It's unhealthy for sensitive groups. Anyone with respiratory issues, limit your time outside today. These numbers are a little bit higher than we're used to seeing. Jenny.
Well, good morning to you. Traffic looks good. Not too much happening. No really major crashes. Here's what I want to show you, though. This is new on the 805. If you're going to be traveling northbound right here, right near that exit to Home Avenue, careful because there is a tree that was knocked down. No word on how that happened, but that tree is kind of blocking that exit ramp from the northbound 805 again to Home Avenue. So potentially you'll notice some crews. Either way, it is kind of blocked there, so you'll have to skirt around. Now, travel time wise, the Coronado Bridge is getting so much better. At one point, the entire span was kind of slammed. Right now, it's just the tail end, which is really nothing new, so you may be down to about 25 miles an hour there. Checking out the North County, you can see your drive through Encinitas, Del Mar, nice and quiet. That little delay that I mentioned on the 15, even that is gone. No other major crashes reported. Stella.
Jenny, thank you. Still to come. They are now calling the fire in Northern California the Giga Fire. It has blown into more than 1 million acres. How it's breaking records. And why you could see ads for Prop 22 while riding in your next Uber and Lyft.